One thing I wanted to ask you about, in the book, your brother took his own life, and you said that you knew that his experience with race had some to do with why he did that. One thing that I've struggled with in explaining my own experience with race is people kind of accepting what I have to say about my own life experience, you know? And it was interesting to me to read from the outside that you were very pointed to put that in there. I think you put it in a couple of places, is that it's very clear that that had some to do with why he took his own life. And I wanted to ask you, what gave you that perspective that that was relevant as an outsider?
Well, I was an outsider with respect to our racial differences, but I wasn't an outsider in his world, right? Um, I was probably closer to him than anybody, and he was certainly the person I was closest to. We were only 11 months apart. I don't remember life before him. He was adopted when I was about a year old. So I don't remember anything before my brother, Casey. Um, and, it was just normal. And this was the person that I was closest to in the world. So it doesn't mean that I fully understand exactly the impact that racism had on him every day, but I certainly had a sense of it, and we talked a lot about it. And I don't think that anybody fully understands um, why people become victims of suicide. And I say it that way because I don't like when people vilify people who have taken their own lives, right? And saying that somebody's committed suicide seems to blame them to me, right? Like committing a crime, committing a homicide kind of thing, right? Um, and I try to think about, how a person gets there and how my brother got there. And I don't think we know. I think it seems from what I've learned about it since, that some of us are more prone to it or not. More, there's plenty of people that have got incredibly hard lives that never consider it, just doesn't cross their mind. And there's others that outsiders would look and say, wow, you got it great. And and we've seen plenty of famous people who have got all the money in the world, and I don't think we know exactly what's up. But what I do know is that racism was kind of like the straw, that broke the camel's back for my brother. He had regular teenager and young adult issues going on, right? Um, and this just may have been too much. That's the way I understand it, because I know it was a lot for him, and it was a lot for me as his brother. I was older, so for me, if anybody has a younger brother or sister, you're the older one. You feel this sense of, I want to protect my younger siblings, right? And I repeatedly couldn't, you know. And so when it happened, of course, um, there was a lot of emotion, a lot of things. But as I've gotten older and reflected, there's no way to get around the fact that his experience included this thing, this racial oppression that the woman who wrote the foreword for the book, Rita Walker, who's a brilliant psychologist, writes about psychological fortitude, and that these type of things can beat down your psychological fortitude and that strength to continue. And my understanding is that was an aspect of it, right? So I write about in the book how I see my brother as another victim of racism, and there have been millions, countless people over the centuries of this problem. Um, and I don't think it was just that, like you said, but it was absolutely a factor. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you breaking that down. That's important for people to hear, and I know that's hard to talk about, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour-long, unedited conversations that I've had on race, Click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support and see you next time.